Hello everyone, and welcome to a special edition of Triad Today featuring Charlotte Mayor Pat McCrory. Before we begin, here's a word about voter education from our friend Mark Schaefer, CEO of Triad Federal Credit Union.
Education is important at every age and on every level. That's why, for example, Triad Federal Credit Union works with schools and the community at large to provide financial literacy instruction so that our young people and our adults can make better decisions about their financial future. It is also important for us as citizens to make informed decisions about our state's political contests. That's why we support Triad Today and its commitment to voter education. I'm Mark Schaefer, CEO of Triad Federal Credit Union, and we hope you enjoy this special presentation.
Earlier this year, before the primary elections, Triad Today conducted a series of individual interviews with candidates for governor. Following those segments, both Pat McCrory and Bev Perdue said that if they were the nominees, they would love to come back and face off against each other here in our studio. However, Ms. Perdue's spokespersons ignored that commitment and rejected every attempt I made to offer a voter education discussion. And so I'll be spending this entire half hour with Charlotte Mayor Pat McCrory, who kept his word to appear. And to the 7-term mayor of Charlotte, I welcome you back to Triad Today. How you doing?
Well, it's great to be back, and I'm sorry my partner is not here, so the people of the Triad get to see an interview for the top job in government in North Carolina.
I don't want to get too political about this because there's some things you and I disagree with, and I want to hammer you on some things. We want to have a good discussion.
I look forward to that.
But before we get into that, does the fact she didn't show up surprise you, shock you? Is it part of some pattern, or what's going on with this?
She's using the same MO that she did against Richard Moore in the primary, and that is to have as few debates as possible and make sure this campaign is determined by 30-second TV ads, primarily negative TV ads. And although after the Richard Moore campaign, with a week to go in that campaign, she promised never to run any more negative ads, she is doing that now against me. But I anticipate a week before the election, we'll see a positive ad with Andy Griffith, the actor, endorsing her. And in the meantime, she's avoiding as many debates as possible. She's turned down most debates. We had one last night that wasn't televised across the state.
Was not televised.
No, was not televised. Now, some channels picked it up, which her campaign staff did not realize. And now she's turned down the UNC TV debates, which is, I think, the last time anyone's...
Well, we here on Triad Today are not worried about Andy Griffith. I like Andy, but we had Thelma Lou on the show 2 weeks ago.
Oh, so, Thelma. She's a great lady. I've met her before at the Billy Graham Library
so
opening.
Thelma's on your side, Andy's on... All right, now let's... you said you're running because you want to clean up corruption and arrogance in state government. What does that mean?
Well, we've had a power elite of 5 or 6 people running state government, frankly, during my 13 years as mayor, and it's especially gotten worse during the past 8 years. In fact, one of the reasons I'm running for governor, because it wasn't something I'd planned to do, was because as a mayor, and your mayor and other mayors across the state are beating our head against the wall to get into this culture of, I think there has been arrogance, where we have to go visit the state officials and try to get in the door to give opinions on what unfunded mandates are impacting cities and counties, what unfunded mandates are impacting businesses, the broken criminal justice system, which is gangs now are in cities like Winston-Salem, High Point, Greensboro.
So you're saying as mayor, it was tough for you to get, you're mayor of the largest city in the state, and it was tough for you to get in to see Mike Easley to talk about gang violence?
I've only been in the governor's office one time in 8 years, and I've never been invited to the mansion, never been in the governor's mansion, so if I win, I'll be going through the gates for the first time.
Well, we'll try to get you a tour guide.
But that's not why I'm running. I'm running because actually the governor should be going out and seeing the people.
Exactly.
And the leaders in both as mayors and school board members and business people and community leaders, and find out what the issues are outside the beltline of Raleigh. And that has not occurred during the past 8 years. And as a result, there has been an arrogance, and what's even sadder, there's been corruption. I mean, we've had 10 elected officials go to prison. It's almost like we have Louisiana politics in North Carolina, and people don't want to do business when they're dealing with corrupt business, and taxpayers then don't trust government if they think their taxpayers are being used by corrupt politicians.
Yeah, but what about the people that are in smaller towns that say, oh yeah, I've heard that Pat McCrory guy's running, he's mayor of Charlotte, I don't know about these big city mayors.
Actually, I'm getting incredible positive response from the small towns that have high unemployment rates because they want a mayor who's had a track record of recruiting and retaining businesses. They want a mayor who understands how to deal with gangs, because it's actually the small towns that are having some serious problems with crime because of the breakdown of the criminal justice system. In fact, along the I-95 corridor in the eastern part of the state, we are having major gang problems. I gave a gang speech in January in Pinehurst, North Carolina, to a large group there in that county. And I talked about gangs not just being in Winston-Salem and Greensboro and High Point and Charlotte, but gangs being in towns including Chapel Hill.
Yeah.
And I was mocked for saying that. Well, since the tragic killing of a Duke student and a University of North Carolina student, all of a sudden they're going, my gosh, there were gangs there. Well, we've known that all along.
Yeah, I want to come back to crime here in just a second. Before we go to this first break, though, I want to get this in about mortgage crisis. So many people are hurting. They're losing their homes. Just been a devastating thing. You have a lot of banks that are headquartered in Charlotte. Have you had any conversations with these CEOs to talk about ways to help ease the pain of these folks?
Yes, we have had those conversations, and I think there are movements being made to give more options available for people who's are late on their mortgages and giving more options to them. But it's not just them I'm concerned about. I'm really concerned about the people who are living next door to someone who doesn't pay their mortgage, because then they have an empty, vacated home. The person next door can afford the mortgage, but when you have a vacant house next door that then people start breaking into, it impacts everyone's quality of life and their investment.
Good point.
That's who I'm worried about.
Bad all the way around.
In addition to those who can't pay their mortgages.
All right, we're going to pick back up with Mayor Pat McCrory in just a moment. We'll be right back.